All right, you're live now. You can start.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to your first class, where we'll be doing introduction to blockchain technology.
So I don't think they can hear you yet or see your screen yet. I can't see anything on the YouTube live.
Okay, so how do I?
It's showing.
It's showing and you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
It's showing. I can see on YouTube.
Okay, but am I audible?
You are. Please go on.
Okay. Okay, so I can continue, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So good evening, everyone, and hope you had a beautiful day, stress-free Monday. Today we'll be talking about block games and the blockchain. Yeah, I know there is really no similarity between both of them, but then, I mean, block games is teaching you blockchain. So just see it like that. For those that were not in the onboarding, yeah, on the onboarding live on Saturday. So Blockgames is a training program that trains you to become a blockchain developer and of course be a world-class blockchain person. All right, so today we'll be focusing on 4 topics. One is the blockchain as one of the expressions of Web3. We'll also be talking about the motivation behind blockchain, like why exactly do we need blockchain? Why did it come about? What is its benefits and all that. Yeah, we're also talking about leading blockchain projects. And then also, what's the future of blockchain? Would it die in the next 10 years? Would a new technology take over? Or, something like that. So we'll be starting with the first topic, which is blockchain as one of the expressions of Web3. I'm sure some of you must have been hearing, okay, Web3, blockchain, are they the same thing? What exactly is blockchain? What exactly is Web3? What is the differences? Okay, so I'll just break it down like this. I'm sure we're all familiar with Web2. Web2 is that version of the internet that most of us know today. If you want, people to have access to your website, let's say you have a portfolio, you can, send people links to your website. That's, a Web2 site. Or you're even building a product where, you are offering users services for free, or even giving them products for free. And of course, you are the product. I mean, if they are giving you something for free, you are the product. So it's an internet. The Web2 was an internet that was dominated by companies that provided services in exchange for your personal data. Yeah, that's, when you think about the controversy of Facebook in this past weeks or months, yeah, they're selling your data, blah, blah, and blah. Of course, you're using their services for free, and they have central authority over what they built and, over every user's data on their platform. So you are literally using your services in exchange for data. Now, Web3, in the context of Ethereum, here, it is a decentralized application that runs on the blockchain. And why Web3? What exactly differentiates Web3 from Web2? It is the fact that these blockchain applications, it allows everyone to participate, both as a user and as a builder, without monetizing your personal data. That is to say, the fact that you are not, your personal data is not being monetized makes it expensive, because you literally have to pay, to guide and to secure your data on the blockchain. So for your personal data not to be sold, you actually have to pay for it. I mean, of course, nothing good comes for free. And even if it comes for free, then somebody must have paid for it. So we need to get that up. So I actually want to make the session kind of interactive. I won't just be talking and talking. So after the first topic, I would take questions. So you can be dropping your questions in the comment section, and after the end of each topic, I will take the questions, and then we'll move on to the next topic, and then we'll take the questions and move to the next topic. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so we're talking about difference between Web 2 and Web 3, right? So we said Web 2 is dominated by components, and Web 3 is dominated by everybody. And when you think about the slang for I am for nobody and I am for everybody, yeah, just think of Web 3. What exactly are the benefits of Web 3? Okay, before we go into the benefits of Web 3, right? What exactly is the difference between Web 3 and the blockchain? The blockchain literally is the technology that, Web 3 is the technology that houses the blockchain. So there are other expressions of the blockchain of Web 3 aside the blockchain. We have cryptography and the rest of them. So what exactly is the benefit of Web 3? Like we mentioned earlier, we said everybody has access as a builder and as a user to the applications. So anyone who is on the blockchain network, they have permission to use the service. There is nothing like, I have restrictions or due to my time zone, you understand? Now, when I'm talking about blockchain services, yes, we have centralized applications and decentralized applications. Whenever I'm talking about, okay, everyone has access and permission to use a particular service, you may be thinking about, but Binance blocks users' accounts and all that. Okay, now, let me clear this up. Binance is a centralized network and not a decentralized network. So whenever we're talking about blockchain, think about a decentralized network. Any services, right, that you're using their platform and they are acting as a middleman, they are a centralized network and not a decentralized network. If you ever have to use a middleman, then you should actually know that you're actually using a centralized network and not a centralized network. Okay, back to benefits of Web3. So I said anyone on the network has permission to use the service. In other words, permission is not required for you to use a particular network. All you have to do is, just sign into the application. I will use the word sign in because that's what is the general term for authentication in Web3. Let us just say it that way. It's like the general term for authentication in Web3. So no one can block you access to the service. And payments are built on the native token. That's the Ethereum. That's Ether, the Ethereum native token, it's Ether. Then also, another benefit of Web3 in the context of Ethereum is that it is Turing complete, meaning that you can, pretty much program anything on the Ethereum network. Just think of anything. You have one crazy idea, think of it, and it's something you can actually carry out on the Ethereum network. Think of the impossible and make it real and make it live, on the blockchain. While we try to praise the Web3, that it's more advanced and maybe a lot better than Web 2, it also has its own limitations at the end of the day. And when we talk about limitation, we talk about scalability, because transactions are a lot slower on Web3 because of course they are decentralized. They deal with nodes, they deal with very high and expensive computational power. So to change a state on the blockchain, like you have to pay some substantial amount of money. You understand? Because each computation is being carried out by, by mining processes, of course, by miners on the network. So for each computation or for each block that are added on the blockchain, it requires very, very high and expensive computational power. Talking about nodes, I'm sure in the last week, we had some live sessions and we talked about these things, but then for those that were not available then, nodes are computers. Let's just call them computers. So nodes are computers that store transactions and data on the blockchain. So whenever we think about the blockchain, let me not digress, sorry. So blockchain is one of the expressions of Web3. So we already talked about blockchain as one of the expressions of Web3. So Web3 and the blockchain are the same thing. Yeah, we already talked about that. You said they are not the same thing, but the Web3 is the technology that houses the blockchain. But if you ask me, why exactly did we name it Web3? Because Web3 is supposed to be like maybe a whole new internet on its own. I mean, the sound of Web3 is sounding like, oh, there's a brand new internet that is completely different from Web2. It's supposed to be like something like Web 2.1, I mean 2.2. But then whosoever named the Web3, they knew where they were going. Okay, so we already highlighted that they are not the same thing because we can have various blockchains on the Web2 technology, on Web3, sorry, on Web3 technology. So what exactly is a blockchain? So blockchain refers to data and states being stored in conservative groups known as blocks. Now think of a ledger, right? And think of a distributed ledger. Now think of a decentralized and distributed ledger. That is what a blockchain is in layman's term. So a blockchain is a decentralized and distributed ledger, that is being stored on a blockchain. So take, for example, if you send ETA to someone and the transaction data needs to be added to a block to be successful. In the sense that, let's take a notebook, for example, let's talk about maybe this 20 leaves book. 20 leaves book is actually limited, but think of a blockchain as, a book that has many pages, right? Uncountable pages. And don't just think of it as a book, think of it as a ledger. Ledger is a book for accounts, for records keeping, right? And for each page, let's say we have one page of a book. So for each page of the book, there is the hash of the previous page attached to it, and there is the hash of the next page attached to it. So there can never be a situation whereby, oh, I lost a particular sheet on this book or a particular page on this book, and it's the end. No, it's not the end. It's not this same scenario, or that's not the case on the blockchain. You understand? So yeah, so we're talking about blocks. We said the blocks refer to data that are being stored, in consecutive groups known as blocks. So think of those sheets in the book as blocks. Then what is chain? Of course, we all know what chain is, but then it refers to the fact that each block cryptographically references its parent. Remember when I was citing the example of, a ledger on how it keeps the hash of the previous page and the hash of the page after it, the pre-page and the post-page. You get it? So in other words, blocks, they get changed together with those hashes. What does hash mean? When you say hash now, you're encoding something, you're encrypting. So literally that's what it means. So the data in a block cannot change without changing all subsequent blocks. So take, for example, we have 1,000,000 blocks, right? And these blocks, we have the hash, that is the transaction data of the previous book before it, or the previous block before it, and the block after it. So imagine we have like 1,000,000 blocks. How exactly do you want to delete information from block 35 without having to spend a lot of money, use a lot of computational power that are very expensive to get to that point? So this is why it's actually kind of difficult for hackers to be able to hack into a blockchain. Okay, so yeah, we said the data in a block cannot change without changing, the subsequent blocks. So imagine you have to change maybe block 38 out of 1,000,000 blocks. And of course, it starts from the bottom. The first block in the blockchain is called the Genesis block. And if you want to get to the Genesis block, you have to start from the bottom. You cannot want to climb a tree and start, climbing from the top, except you're a bird, I'll be a witch, sorry. But then, you know what I'm saying? You have to go from the bottom to say you want to, delete a particular block from the blockchain. Wait, can you guys still hear me? Just to confirm that, I am not talking to myself.
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank you. All right, so we talked about blocks and we talked about nodes earlier too. Nodes ensure that everyone interacting with blockchain has the same data to accomplish each distributed agreement. The blockchain needs a consensus mechanism. Now, what is a consensus mechanism? A consensus mechanism is a mechanism that ensures, no, that validates, let me use the word, that validates, each blocks in the blockchain. Now, how are blocks created in a blockchain, you may ask? Blocks are created, with some computations, called mining, and they are usually created by miners. Sometimes when you wonder that, okay, why do we pay so much gas fee on the blockchain? Why is it so expensive? Why do we have to pay so much money? It's because there are some, people that are working tirelessly to create these blocks. And creating a block is not, is not a run in a park where you just go there and say, oh yeah, I've created a block. Let me collect my 6 Bitcoin, or let me collect my 10 Bitcoin. That's not how it works. So you have to do some really tough and rigorous computations for, to mine a block. You understand? So you have to do some rigorous computations to mine a block. So nodes, basically, they are computers. Yeah. So we're talking about consensus mechanism. Yeah, let us go into it just a little bit. Consensus mechanisms varies according to each blockchain technology. Take for instance, the Bitcoin consensus mechanism is different from Ethereum consensus mechanism. Just think of it as a way of creating their own or validating their own blockchain. So their methods will be different. Bitcoin adopted the proof of work mechanism earlier. No, they still use it actually, they still use it. They adopted the proof of work mechanism where miners have to solve some really tough and hard puzzles, to validate blocks on the blockchain. And of course, you have to, they have to be at least maybe 51% agreement that, okay, well, this block is valid, then let us give it a pass before, it can be validated on the blockchain. And Ethereum makes use of the proof of stake. And then other blockchains, so they have their own, various consensus mechanisms like that. So what exactly is the reason behind the blockchain technology? Oh, actually, I said I was going to take questions after each topic. So Victoria, could you please check if there are any questions in the chat? Just quickly.
Okay, yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
So we have some questions. Let me read it out. So the first question is the developer of a Web3 app not in control of the app?
Okay, is the developer not in control of the app? Notice, you are not in control as long as you have deployed it into mainnet. The reason is that once you deploy something into the blockchain, you cannot change it. It's not in like Web2 where maybe you store users' data in the database and you can go to the database and tweak it. You even go to the database to go and maybe check a customer's password if if it's not hashed properly. So no, as a developer, you cannot change it.
Not actually. Okay, the next question is the metaverse one of the expressions of Web3?
Metaverse. I would actually not say it. It is not an expression of Web3.
Okay, then. The next question. So if Binance is not a decentralized network,
it is not.
What is
okay.
Okay, if Binance is not a decentralized network, then is the blockchain technology not the core of Binance products?
Yes, Binance is a centralized network. But the blockchain, of course, is the core. But when you're talking about decentralization or fully, see, there are some platforms that are fully decentralized and there are some platforms that are not fully decentralized. So yes, blockchain is the core, but then it's not fully decentralized. It is a centralized network. They act as a middleman for every transaction that you carry out.
Okay, then. I think that's clear enough. The next question is Ethereum network the only underlying blockchain that works with Web3?
Actually, no, there are quite a number of blockchains. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Solana. And of course, Ethereum and Solana are like, kind of popping right now. Yeah, Ethereum is not the only one. We have Quorum, we have the Hyperledger, we have Cardano. So Ethereum is not the only blockchain network that works on Web3.
Okay. The next one says, what is a ledger?
Okay, I think, I don't know, this question looks like they came like long before I explained what's, a ledger is, but then I will explain it again. When you think about a ledger, think of a book that keeps records of accounts and transactions. But now think of it in a digital form. You understand? So a ledger is a book that stores transactions and accounts.
Okay. The next one, does each block stores single transaction or a group of transactions? If it stores a group of transactions, how many transactions makes up a block?
Okay, yeah, that's actually a good question. The block does not store just one single transaction. Imagine you go to a particular decentralized platform and the amount of transactions you have to run on it, let's say just within the platform, you might have run maybe like 5 to 10 transactions. So you're telling me that one block for each transaction. Who do you want to kill? So actually, it's like many transactions to one block, not one transactions to one block. And then how many transactions in a block? It depends on the blockchain, actually. For Bitcoin, we have about maybe 5 transactions per block. So for Ethereum too, there is a limit to the number of transactions that a block can carry.
Cool. So we have another question. Can a layman perform transaction without an exchange, like buy or sell Ethereum without an exchange?
I'm not sure I understand that question very well. Without an exchange, does that mean like without paying gas fee, or I'm not sure I understand the question properly.
Like, let's say without Binance Exchange or Bundle Africa.
Sure. Okay, think about in place of using Binance, right? I mentioned earlier that Binance rather centralized platform rather than a decentralized platform. Use Trust Wallet. Use MetaMask. They are decentralized, like they are fully decentralized. You cannot lose your private key and you go meet MetaMask that you want to retrieve it, and they will give you. Your account is gone. You have to forfeit your money and create a new account. Or let's say the way we use of our Binance is blocking people's accounts, and where there are Bitcoins worth millions in there, and then they freeze your account. That does not happen in Trust Wallet or in MetaMask. If you lose your money, you have full custody of your wallet. So in place of using Binance, there is a Coinbase, there is a Trust Wallet, there is MetaMask, so that are fully decentralized.
Okay then. So somebody is asking, what's the difference between proof of work and proof of stake?
Okay. So I mentioned that proof of work requires the miners to solve some puzzles, and you're not just solving the puzzle. You have to reach about 51% consensus. Like people have to agree on the network that you have to get like 51, let's say 51% vote you get for it to pass. That's on proof of work. And then proof of stake, of course, the consensus mechanism used to validate transactions, just like proof of stake, proof of work too. So the owners of the cryptocurrency, in this case, they can stake coins that will give them rights, to check for new blocks and then add them to the blockchain. In proof of stake, you are staking something in exchange for your voice to be heard. In proof of work, you are working to prove that, see, I am up to this task. I don't know if my explanation makes sense, but in proof of work, yes, you are working to explain that I can do this thing and you have to approve it. In proof of stake, you are, exchanging something for something that, say, I have money and I am very rich. Take this and, let it be the basis of your decision, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, then. So somebody has been shouting, please mute your notification. I personally can't see any notification sound, but in case your notification sound is on, please mute it.
Oh, okay.
And then the last question for now, what is the connection between Ethereum and Web3? After this, please, right on to the next topic.
All right. The connection between Ethereum and Web3. Ethereum is a blockchain. Web3 is the underlying technology. I hope that answers the question. And yes, for my notification, sorry, that's a long journey. I'll have to pause this video and I won't do that. That will be after. So sorry, bear with my notifications for now. All right, so moving on. Okay, so we're talking about the reason behind the blockchain. Okay, why exactly do we need a blockchain? Why is it why exactly they come about? What is its benefits? And blah blah blah. Okay, talk about transparency amidst others, obviously. How we mentioned that whenever you're mining a block or you're performing a transaction on the blockchain network, everybody has access to it. And when I mean everybody has access to it, I'm not saying everybody has access to your personal data, except of course you give it to them. So it's transparent. And then it's also secure in the sense that blocks are always stored linearly and in chronological manner. So there is no how you want to say, okay, you want to hack block 100 out of block 1 million, out of 1 million blocks that have been, mined. That's how secure it is. And then it is immutable. That is, you cannot change it. Just like a question someone asked earlier. Okay, say you deployed a smart contract that codes hello world, or that gives you the output hello world, and then you deploy it to the blockchain, and then you want to say you want to retrieve your code and then change it to Nigeria instead of hello world. I mean, it makes sense. That cannot happen. So once it is deployed, it is deployed. Except, of course, maybe we are using the upgradability method, but I would say it's a topic for another day. But yes, it is immutable. So you cannot change the transactions that has already been deployed on the blockchain. So it is difficult to alter the blocks after they have been added to the blockchain. Okay, if you're going to be talking about leading blockchain technologies, okay, well, what are the blockchain projects that are actually available? How do I identify blockchain projects? Number one that you're already most likely familiar with is the Ethereum blockchain. Bitcoin is not a blockchain. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Ether is the native token of the Ethereum blockchain. I mean, it's a native currency. Yeah, it's token and currency. Anyway, it's a native currency of the Ethereum blockchain. Bitcoin is not a blockchain. So we have other blockchains too, other blockchain projects. Sorry, I don't know where this thing is running to, but yeah, we have Hyperledger Fabric. It's a business-to-business, blockchain platform. We also have Quorum, which is a private and permissible blockchain. So talking about private and permissible blockchain, remember that we said transactions on the blockchain are, very transparent, right? Like everybody has access. It's nothing like, and you own this service and yes, I can have access to it. There are different types of blockchains. We have the public blockchain, we have the private blockchain, we have the permissible blockchain. Now, when you're talking about private blockchains, it means that, okay, this particular blockchain, I do not want, I want just a specific target audience to have access to it. It depends on the purpose of the blockchain. You understand? So you could say, okay, I want to build a private blockchain because only people within my organization can have access to it, or only people within, okay, take for example now, who are those people that use private blockchain? Take for example now, maybe the Ministry of Defense in the government, they can decide that, okay, we want to have a private blockchain that of course should not be accessible to the public. You get, because there are some information that we really don't want them to, have access to. It is still transparent though, amongst those people, among the organization that have access to it or that it was built for, but then it's not transparent to the public. You understand? Okay, so we have, that's like one of those, the three major blockchains. We also have the blockchain wallets. I'm sure you're all familiar with wallets now. You must have heard of MetaMask, Trust Wallet, then cryptocurrency traders. I'm sure they are familiar with those things. We are familiar with NFT marketplace. We are also part of blockchain project. We are familiar with a voting system or voting services. For those of you that have interacted with MetaMask in one way or the other, you must have seen a voting contract or a ballot contract. Yes. So yeah, there are platforms like that. So they are literally like very large amounts of projects that have been built on the blockchain so far. And I mean, the possibility of a blockchain is actually very limitless. It's very limitless. So what exactly is the future of the blockchain? What are the limitations? Is there something that, can be impossible with it? Is there something that we cannot do with it? Okay, I think I will take questions for now. And I think this is the last topic we have to but let me take questions and we can think, what exactly do we think is the future of blockchain? Do we think it's something that would die in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years? Do we think something else will take over? At least we know that the metaverse and the blockchain is what is reigning right now. Okay, so do we think that's a potential, to change our world? Do we think Nigeria will adopt the blockchain system, let's say maybe in next 20 years? Is that hope? All right, so Victoria, could you please?
Okay, so basically we don't have questions yet on this on the question you just raised, and so when it comes to the chat box, students have been asking questions like proof of. Basically, they have been answering each other.
Oh, okay.
So, and I've been answering some questions here too. So basically, we don't really have any questions for now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there something you would like to, contribute or maybe just to, add to Victoria?
Okay, so if there's something I would like to contribute, there's this illustration I have concerning the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. That is like breaking it down in a layman term for any person to understand. So I just want to give that illustration, and I think that's all from my side. So let's look at Web 2 when it's in terms of Facebook, Instagram, and these applications that we're using today. So in Web 2, we get to interact. In Web 1, first of all, we get to only read information from the internet, get information from the internet. We don't get to interact with the internet. As we don't get to post or like or do anything like that in the internet. We only get to read information. While in Web 2, we get to interact with different applications. Like let's say Facebook, you get to post your pictures and all that. You get to post things about yourself. Then in Web3, now, let me put it this way. The illustration I want to give to differentiate Web3 from Web3 is the sense of, let's use Facebook now. So, in Facebook, let's say you open an account in Facebook and you have been posting using that account for like 5 years, or let's say since you were born. That's the only account you have ever had on Facebook. Now, it is centralized and different from Web3 in the sense that one day, Mark Zuckerberg can just wake up and say, okay, you did something that is not good, or we find your account faulty, and they just delete the account. That way, now when they delete the account, you lose every single thing. You lose every single data they have posted there, and you don't even have the right to talk. Like, you just delete it without your permission. You understand? You can only play and say, okay, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, but still yet they have the right to delete every single thing. That's in the case of applications, you understand? But now in Web3, we can have applications. Let's say we have a Web3 Facebook. In that scenario now, when you're posting your data, posting everything about your life, your pictures, everything, videos, nobody can wake up one day and just delete your account. Nobody has that right. You have the right to post anything you want to post, anything at all. Nobody has that right. And nobody will come and query you that why did you post this? So so that's just it. So that's just also so hard. So any other mentor can contribute.
Okay, so I would actually like to add one thing that happened on Twitter recently. There was this guy. I can't really remember what he did, and I can't really remember the name of the platform. But the platform was a decentralized platform, right? I think they do. They have a wallet system also. So the governments of that country or their Department of Justice or something, they emailed the company saying that the company should give them the data, like maybe the email and maybe the IP address, of that particular, wallet address. Actually, it was with a username, I think. So of that guy. And then the company had to respond to them that we do not have access to users' data. So we cannot freeze nor stop the person from using the account. So decentralization is in such a case that no matter what, they do not have access to your account because it has been programmed in the smart contract that CEO, once this thing has been, programmed and pushed to the, virtual machine, it cannot be changed. So think of decentral. Okay, I also saw a question that was asking about Binance Smart Chain and that if Binance is centralized, then Binance Smart Chain is centralized. Now, when we're talking about Binance Smart Chain is the network, is Binance network, right? So Binance itself is a very big platform, and one of their platforms is Binance Smart Chain. So the fact that Binance is centralized does not mean their smart chain is centralized, or every other thing they do is centralized. You understand? So do we have any other question, or we can call it a night? I mean, of course, if you have further questions.
We have questions. We have questions. So okay. Should I go ahead?
Sure, please.
So the first one says, does DAOs use private blockchain?
Actually, do DAOs use private blockchain? No. It depends on the project that each or whatever the DAO is trying to build. But building a private blockchain is actually highly dependent on its purpose, what you're building on it. Plus, when you're thinking about the idea of a DAO, the idea of a DAO is community-based, right? And when you're trying to make it private, maybe you have some, group of people, but then I'm not really seeing the sense in it. So I've never really seen a DAO that Of course, there are private DAOs that you have to like maybe stake their tokens before you have access, or you have to like maybe have access by invites and all those things. But no, DAOs are a community. They are not, yeah, they're a community that come together to, build a project. They have a goal, they have a mission. You understand? So they can decide to use a private blockchain, depends on, their scope or, the mission of the DAO. But then based on community, most likely not.
Okay, then we have another question. So is mining more of actually solving maths problem, or there are more of iterations till the result is found?
Mining is actually, the thing is, I have not mined before. So I would not say I actually have that practical knowledge of it. But then based on research, it is not really about solving mathematical problems. It's more about, spending a lot of time and effort, guessing until, you find the right answer. So I think it's more logic based and more time consuming. So it's not really about maths. It's not about solving maths. It's more than solving maths. Just think of it as logic.
Okay. So is blockchain technology just for transactions, or is there something else it's used for?
It's not just for transactions. It's not just, okay, it depends on actually what you think transactions are. So transactions is the interaction between two things, two parties, two entities, two people. So when we're talking about transactions, we are not talking about numbers all the time. We are not talking about money. The transaction, when you think of transactions is like a communication, right, between two people or more people. So yeah, I think it's safe to say they are about transactions because of course you are communicating.
Okay. So somebody is asking, do you think Web3 is probably a precursor to Web4, just like Web 1 and 2 is a precursor to Web3?
Which one is Web4, Joe? We have not finished Web3. Please, which one is Web4? I don't know. Is that Web4? I don't know about that one. Wait, okay. Do we really have Web4? I'm actually curious.
I think Web3 is still fresh, and I don't think I don't know about that, but Web3 is still fresh, and we still have a lot to do with Web3. So I don't think anybody should be jumping to Web4 safe.
Please be calming down. We'll be calming down. Let us finish Web3 first.
Okay, so somebody said, what if the miners can't solve the mathematical problem? Does that mean the transaction won't be successful?
Yes, it will not. And another miner will take up the blocks and try to solve it. See it as a competition.
Okay. So somebody wants you to throw more light on Turing. If that's possible.
Show more light on
Turing complete languages. But if that's not possible right now, because it's actually the scope of what we're discussing, people want to know what the future of Web3 is.
Well, I think this question is actually it's a free question, right? It's a question for everybody. It's not necessarily a question that one person has an answer to. I mean, you literally have to be able to predict the future, be able to know what the future of, what the future holds for Web3. Maybe based on statistics or based on data, previous data. Everybody has the answer to it. So let's think. And I don't know. I feel like we all have the answer to it. What do we think will become of Web3? I think Web3 actually has a very promising future, right? Because we didn't have this kind of hype and advantage in Web2. Because, I don't know, maybe because I am really young and I wasn't really around then when at the advent of Web2. But, as I was growing up and, meeting Web2, it was feeling so saturated and there wasn't really any place to belong to. You get, look, it feels like you actually have to like walk your way up the ladder in Web 2. But in Web 3, it feels like everybody has access to make it. Like, except you don't want to, except you're not putting in the work, you're not putting yourself out there. Everybody has access to make it. Web 3 was built for everybody, literally everybody. There is no limitation. So I think Web 3 is actually a very good thing for us right now. And the adoption will be really massive in the coming years. That's why I envision. But then let me know what you think.
So people have not yet typed out what they think. So, but for me, truly, I feel there will be so many adoptions when it comes to Web3, and I don't think Web3 is stoppable. In fact, well, Web3 has already even gone far like this. So I don't think even governments can really do anything. Like when Nigeria was saying, let's say,
exactly what you want to do?
Like, let's say, for example, like recently I heard this news of Nigeria banning, Nigeria banned cryptocurrency.
Yeah, of course. We'll block your accounts if you see any crypto there.
But to even show that they're already getting tired, they did this e-currency stuff. So I don't think Web3 actually stopped
said that they did. In their mind now, they're trying to build blockchain. Because I didn't even understand what exactly is the concept of e-naira. Is it? Are they trying to adopt digital currency? Please, so just a quick question: has anybody actually ever used or interacted with that e-naira platform before? I just want to know.
Okay, for me,
to buy it? Have you ever used it to maybe purchase a commodity or something?
For me, no. Anything that has to do with Nigeria is not that interesting.
It's not anything that has to do with Nigeria.
Yeah.
I actually believe in Nigeria. See, let us not be surprised if Nigeria fully adopts her blockchain, but that would be like maybe in the next 100 years. But then there's hope at the end of the day.
Yeah, sure. There's hope. So bringing it back to the future of Web3, please, guys, comments. What do you think? What do you think? So somebody is saying, I also want to know why Web3 and the blockchain is focused on exchange of value. There's no production occurring. Is that really true?
There is no production. How? How is there no production? Is the transactions producing?
Continue, please.
The transactions are producing something now. I mean, the transactions are the medium to production. So, okay, we are talking about decentralized applications. Or what do you think decentralized applications are? We have the decentralized finance, making ease of payment. We have the ICOs, initial coin offerings. You can list your tokens, and make it known. We have the decentralized organizations. So it's not necessarily all about, when we are talking about transactions, it's not always about numbers, be doing 1 + 1, I'll be sending money and retrieving money and withdrawing money. It's not always about that. So the end product is still production. So I'm not sure I really understand the question, but possibly that's it.
Yeah. So we have a very funny question here. Somebody's asking if miners are humans.
Of course they are humans. They are humans like you. It's just that they have more privilege and leverage in their country that they are mining, or wherever it is they are mining from. Imagine that you want to mine in this Nigeria now. You will first blow your street transformer before you realize that they will come and arrest you. So it requires a lot of power consumption. It requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of mental work and computations. So if you're ever considering mining, so consider those things too. And consider that you're in Nigeria. And especially if you're inside Lagos too. You have to consider those things.
Okay, so we have another question. It says, is everything on blockchain about transactions, building apps for transactions like finance focus and businesses, or it can be applied in other areas like social media, sports, etc.
Obviously, there are decentralized social apps. Okay, I don't know about, I can't really name one, but there is one decentralized Word document, STIFF, S-T-I, is it SPIFF? STIFF. You guys can check it out. It's a decentralized Word document, like Google Docs. In this case, they don't have, with Google now, if you're using Google Docs, they have access to your data, they know your name, they will retrieve your email address, and they can know which country you are, probably sending a particular message from. But there is this decentralized Google Docs. Why am I calling decentralized Google Docs? But you people should understand, decentralized documents platform or decentralized file system. So I think it's STIFF. So they are literally these other decentralized platforms are, more than, they're not about NFTs or DeFi or even DAO. They are social platforms. There are storage platforms. There's decentralized storage system now. We have IPFS, we have Filecoin. So it's not just about DeFis.
So in addition to that, yes, we have other applications of blockchain. In fact, there are some companies selling food that are distributing foods that uses the blockchain to track the movement of the food. And then let's say there's a case of poisoning. So using the blockchain, the company gets to track the whole movement, the whole transportation movement, and then gets to pinpoint where the poisoning might have come from. So it's not just all about transaction or building the apps. We still have real world applications, and many companies are already using it.
Well, I actually have one, will I call it curiosity right now? We understand that, Solidity or the blockchain is like the back end of our applications, because at the end of the day, how will users interact with our blockchain without the front-end interface? Has anyone ever actually thought of a decentralized front-end applications? Because at the end of the day, if you are using the front-end in our platform, maybe using React or Vue.js or whatever front-end framework that you're using, at the end of the day, the application can still have access to our data. Maybe we have to fill a particular form or, through interaction with the front end. I don't know if I'm making sense, but has anyone ever considered the idea of a decentralized front-end application where, we have a user interface, but then it's decentralized?
Any mentor has something to say about it?
Okay, well, I don't really think, I don't believe anything is impossible, but then I feel like it's something that could be part of the future of the blockchain too.
Okay, so somebody's asking, can't 100 of nodes come together to form one node?
I don't understand that question. Can't 100 of computers come together to form one computers? Why? Are you trying to have a centralized, are you trying to achieve a centralized, are you trying to have a centralized server? If yes, of course, that can work now. Just have a central server for all your computers. That's where centralization comes in. So when you're talking about nodes, no, this is blockchain. We cannot come together and have one node, except you're trying to build a centralized server. I hope that answers these questions.
Okay, I think that's okay. Okay, so I've been going through the chat and I can't see any other relevant question. So somebody has something to say about the future of Web3. So the person said Web3 has a promising future as it will keep advancing to other sectors of the economy. And because its data is private and just to you, a lot of people will want to know and do more. So that's the contribution the person has.
Yeah, that person made a lot of sense actually, because aside from the finance sector, the blockchain can actually diversify into a lot of sectors. This includes health, governance, agriculture, supply chain. So it has a lot of potential in that area. In fact, in all of our sector, it has a lot of potential.
Okay. So basically, I think that's really all. Okay, somebody is saying, please, I don't still understand how mining is so energy consuming.
Okay, I think I will drop a resource that I will drop a resource in the resource channel after this session, so you can like read further on it so that you can better understand deeper about it.
Okay, so we also have a general question. Basically, the person is asking, what is the average salary of a blockchain developer and how many months do I need to put into work to be able to get a job?
It sounds like this one cannot wait to start making money. It is good, it is good, it is good. Money is a good motivation, please. Yeah, I get it. What is the average salary of a blockchain developer? Me, I don't know. Well, in Nigeria, I don't want to tell you people what you want to hear. But then in Nigeria, average, maybe 500K for a junior entry level. And maybe if you get a foreign job, it will be earning like 3K. And this is highly dependent on your level of experience. They are not going to take in a total noob that's going to come and cost them thousands of dollars or break something in their system. Of course not. So you need to get better in your level of experience. So let's say maybe from Nigeria, 500K. If you're looking to get a foreign gig, you can start with 3K dollars actually, because that's how much they pay entry level.
Okay, cool. So there's a question here, but I don't think I quite get it. It says in Web3, what's the place of data protection or privacy?
What is the place of data protection and privacy? You actually do not have to worry about your data in Web3 because number one, they would not ask for your data. Number two, even if they ask for your data, it will be hashed. And this hashing it's a one-way hashing. Once it has been hashed into, let's say, bytes 32, it cannot be reversed. You understand? So it's really secure. That's how secure it is. It's a one-way hashing. So that hashing itself is enough security.
Okay, so we have on that one. In Nigeria, what is the impact of government policies in the adoption of blockchain?
What is a part of government's policies?
What is the impact of government policies in the adoption of blockchain?
I would say for a country that is actually developing, the impact is really heartbreaking. Because, let me not talk, because we don't know if there is one SARS member in here, but then I know Jesus will intervene.
Okay, so I think that will be all for today. But before that, what do you think about this person's view? He said, low-key. He said social media and other centralized apps are okay as a Web2 product. I prefer getting personalized stuff at the expense of giving my data for free. What do you think about that?
Actually, this person English is hard, sorry. The person made a lot of sense because there are some platforms and systems that will actually thrive more in Web 2 than in Web 3. So again, everything does not have to be migrated to Web 3. You understand? Everything would not thrive in Web 3, but there are some things or systems or projects that would actually thrive more in Web 2 than in Web 3. So of course you have a point.
Okay. So I think that's all for today. Other questions will be attended to on the Discord channel.
All right, you guys can drop your question in Where can they drop question?
They can drop it in general help, general or technical.
Okay, yeah, you can
general
drop your
help and
technical.
general.
Yeah, you can drop your technical questions in technical help, drop your general questions in general help, and you can probably drop a question in compiled question and answer channel too, where, you can have a chance to answer everything at once, instead of like going through each channel to be, looking for questions, you understand? So if you have like a question, you can paste it in compiled question and answer channel. And of course, we can brainstorm together. And thank you so much, guys, for attending. Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night rest.
Also, please, a quick one. Please, if you're going to be dropping your questions in the general channel, please create a thread and name it after today's discussion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
so
again,
for example, you can say maybe introduction to blockchain and maybe create a thread under it, and you can drop all your questions there. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Let's continue this conversation on Discord.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night rest.